A glimpse of what is possible to man through the sustained acceptance of the presence. The majority of people in the world are blind to the radiant power of the ever-present life. They have looked to the external world for power, with the result that they have lost the only power to create with true satisfaction. Man has been seeking for something above everything else in the world which would give him freedom and satisfaction, yet by his temporary blindness he has missed the splendor and radiance of this very thing, because it was too near to him, thus he could not see it. The sanctuary of the silent healing power has proved to me more than anything else that when we once get a glimpse of this radiant power, the so-called impossible becomes possible. The thousands of letters that I have received from those who have benefited through the silent healing power has convinced me more than ever of the mighty power that is awaiting expression from within us all. I sat down the other day to read some of these marvelous results where so-called incurable diseases have vanished almost overnight, where the depressed and dejected have been restored to happiness, where peace now reigns where at one time there was chaos, where the burdens of life have been lifted and confidence restored, where homes have been reunited in happiness and success has taken the place of failure, where freedom has taken the place of bondage, and perplexed minds have attained the light of truth. I could go on enumerating the many wonderful things that are happening in our midst, which shows that once we get a glimpse of the radiant presence of the presence, the impossible becomes possible. The most important thing in life is to gain a further understanding of this great and mighty power that can do all these things. I am not speaking to you about theories, for I have had enough evidence of the practical application of this power in my life and in the lives of thousands of others of whom I speak, to assure me that with our continual practice of the presence in our lives, the results we will obtain will be beyond our present ability to imagine. And I say without any fear of contradiction that this is the greatest thing in your life and mine. We will examine the practical application of the technique we should use, so that by understanding and applying this technique we can help ourselves and thousands of others to win this crown of glory. When I say it is a state of mind that enables us to use this radiant power, it is a truth that cannot be denied. Although our contact with the presence is eternal and ever-present, we do not create the state of mind that is essential for the manifesting of this mighty power through us. The majority of people have been led to believe that they have to learn philosophy, psychology, mythology, and much more before they are able to express the omnipotent omniscience. Some would make you believe that they have the only right to it, and through them alone are you permitted to even glance at it. But I tell you, it is free to all and is exceedingly simple in its application. When I switch on the electricity, I get the light. The electricity is there all the time, waiting to express itself. It is the same with the presence. By our conscious awareness of the presence, we switch ourselves on so that the presence produces for us according to our needs. Now this seems very simple, and it is simple when the mind is at rest and there is a quiet, calm peace. When there is a silencing of the outside noise, then this contact with the ineffable and glorious presence that is above everything else in the world is possible. It is possible to the extent that all is possible unto those who are aware. Do you understand what being aware means? Life, do not think that the world has been left to itself to swim out of its difficulties as best it can. It is not so. There is a great spiritual plan, and that plan will be made manifest as the presence is realized in our lives. What we need is a sustained acceptance of the presence so that its mighty power can be active in our individual lives. We must not try and make an image of the presence, for that would be useless. We would then be limiting the presence according to our own image of it, and this has been the cause of most of our troubles. We have been trying to create an image of the presence according to man's standards. Man, made in the image and likeness of God, has been trying to make a God according to man's own image, with the result that the world has been lost in dogmas, creeds, and illusions, while reality has been smothered by these beliefs. We have smothered the presence with religious ritual and sanctimonious formalities to the extent that we ourselves are buried in a grave of ignorance, and not until we dig ourselves out of this grave of ignorance can we realize the truth of our being, and everyone must do this for himself or herself. There is no other way. In my previous lectures I have made it plain that the presence is the only creative power there is, the only substance there is. Therefore the presence created form within itself for its own self-expression. Therefore in reality the finite becomes the infinite. When this truth is properly understood and realized, you know that the Father and I are one. Man gives expression to this absolute love, wisdom, and power. Now, this state required, which leads to the inspiration and expression of the infinite power through the finite, is one of aspiration. This state, I would like you to understand, is one that is free from craving from without. There must also be a state of awareness of the mighty presence, full of enlightenment and realization of the love, wisdom, and power of the presence. An enlightened consciousness is a consciousness that knows itself to be the point through which the infinite expresses its radiant power, love, and wisdom. The infinite presence is in nature omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. and although it is impossible for the individual consciousness to comprehend the immensity of the infinite presence, it can be aware of that presence. Therefore, the individual should make no effort to define it, but allow it to express itself and rejoice in the expression. We can see that the presence does not crave, for within the presence there is an eternal peace. It is the craving of the human mind which brings a deep sense of lack, and it is this turmoil in the mind that causes sorrow and conflict. When you are fully aware of the presence and its peace, this peace and quiet is established in the mind, but this needs practicing the presence. By practicing the presence, you improve your daily living in all directions accordingly. When there is craving, there is frustration, and when there is frustration, there is sorrow and conflict through the mind being in a continual turmoil. You cannot reflect the mighty presence through a ruffled mind. The following will help you to attain the necessary state of mind. First of all, you must discern that which is relative to that which is real within yourself. Everything that you can analyze is relative. What you can look upon, see, touch, and the like, even what you think about, is relative to you. Therefore, to think of God, to try and analyze Him, you make Him relative. This you can see is an illusion. That which is analyzing, that which is thinking, is real. Thus you become aware of yourself as the thinker, the creator, the presence. Then there is an awareness of the self as the greater self. The finite and the infinite become one in conscious realization. In this way there is no struggle, no effort, only calm discernment, as if you were looking at something that you can control and handle with ease. This gives you dominion over all things, the relative world. With the awakened consciousness there is devotion, which leads to earnest aspiration. Then wisdom comes into the individual consciousness, which leads to peace and silence. When your peace is disturbed, it is because you have not realized the truth of your being. You are under great provocation, under emotion and desire. You allow things external to the self to control you, and the mind becomes ruffled and turbid. The more you are aware of these experiences, the sooner you overcome them. You get more and more strength as you begin to discern the cause of the turmoil and realize your dominion over all things. Do not be dismayed if you do not obtain the peace at once. All things have a beginning, and soon you will experience a peace that nothing can move. And as this peace is developed, the presence manifests itself through you more and more. That is why tuning into the silent healing power is so essential. You must give time to this precious thing that you so earnestly desire. The time will come when no effort will be needed. The presence takes its abode in you permanently. This is the peace that the world cannot give. It is the peace that the Christ gives and is beyond human understanding. You will see now that there is no need for you to become the football of your own unruly thoughts or a rudderless ship on the sea of your emotions and desires. Neither need you sink in the thought atmosphere that surrounds you. But through the practice of the presence, you will dissolve this atmosphere and help not only yourself but others as well. You will soon recognize that there is within yourself that which is the factory of thoughts, and also that which can discern, judge, dissolve, and accept. You will then realize that which is real and that which is relative. Some people struggle with their thoughts. They say that they practice the controlling of their thoughts, while all the time they are only creating turmoil and not peace. The way to get peace in the mind is not through struggle, but to watch quietly thoughts that pass across the mind, viewing them as you would a flock of birds crossing a windless sky. They come, you discern, and they disappear, leaving no trace, while you remain undisturbed in the realization of the truth of your being. Practice is essential every day, and the presence will surround the individual consciousness, and the outer will be full of peace. Then the silence that is beyond description will reveal the vast impersonal omnipresence and omniscience, giving expression to the omnipotence of its creative power from within. This develops from that deep silence that is only known to those who have realized the true source of their being, which begins to reveal itself more and more as you expand into it. I and the Father become one in reality. This state is not a surface feeling nor a platitude in the mind, but is an awareness every moment of the presence that is ever present, and only in the present, the only time there is in reality. This is why I say practice the presence as often as you can at the times indicated in the sanctuary of the silent healing power. You will then have a glimpse of what is possible to man through the sustained acceptance of the presence in your own life. Benediction. Be still, let the presence work through you. Learn to know the presence through your own experiences. The formless gives birth to the form, yet remains formless, while giving voice and power to the form. The roar of the ocean, the silence of the deep, the rush of winds reveal the presence. Remember the thing or person that you love most in the world, then feel this love and much more towards the presence. Then the divine flame will leap forth to dissolve all that is not its own.